Welcome to Combat Habit number 2. So, another part of this martial art anthology I want to touch on is movie combat and real life combat. So, depending on how long this goes, first I want to talk about movie combat because I am an independent filmmaker that you guys have no idea that I even exist. Alright, I've been at this business for 19 years. But before I was an independent filmmaker, I was always a martial artist, and before that, I was a street fighter. I know you guys get tired of hearing the same old bullshit, so we're just going to cut it right there. You also know my ethnicity. If you don't know, here's your refresher. Native American, Cherokee Indian, Black, and White American. I don't have the right to be a racist, so here we go. As a martial artist, you have yay so many possible futures in this business. Alright? You know, if you're not a wrestler or a UFC fighter, and you're not a tournament fighter for points, then you only have one other option, which is to make movies. Says I haven't had any luck in any of that, and mostly with tournament fighting is because I don't have a belt, and a lot of cities and states there's regulations on belts, which is why I could never really compete. Then there's also the fact that like UFC, Rec, Pride, and ISK and stuff when they first came out in the middle 90s, back between 95 and 2000, when I weighed a $115, they didn't have the super flyweight. And don't think that I didn't try to get in because I did. The internet was just getting its heyday, and email was becoming a thing. I really didn't have an email, but I had a regular address, and I could send my applications in because you could print them out and send them in. I didn't have to do that. I just filled out whatever was on the line and pushed the send button. And my replies were like almost immediate. We don't have your weight class. We don't do anything under 135 pounds. So lightweight has always been 135 pounds. Where if you go by wrestling standards, the lightweight is 135 to 205 or 225. And we know this because Chris Benoit has also been the lightweight champion as well as a heavyweight champion. Rey Mysterio has been a lightweight or cruiserweight champion and also heavyweight champion. But Rey Mysterio, who's 5'6", is every bit of 170 pounds. Where Chris Benoit, who was like just short of 6 feet, if not 6 feet, was every bit of 220 pounds, which most of the wrestlers back then were. So moving on, like I said, if you're not a wrestler but a martial artist, if you're not in the UFC or tournament fighting for points or doing martial art demonstrations, no one will know who you are. Henceforth, that's my case. No one knows who I am. So now let's talk about making movies. So for a long time, I just wanted to be a cop. I didn't want to do anything else. I wanted to be a cop. I wanted to be a cop who would not carry a gun until I found out that that was like the standard part of your uniform. Whether you like guns or not, you got to carry one. So I was like, okay. However, my life took a very bad turn in that direction, and I didn't get to go in that direction due to family drama and some bullshit. Alright, that's right. My family kind of screwed me out on that one because certain people were doing certain things that I cannot mention on the internet because I do not know what the statute of limitations are, and I'm not a snitch. Alright? That being said, my life went into all different kinds of directions. I had some serious falling out with family issues and stuff like that. And so one day, the thing that propelled me into wanting to make movies was, believe it or not, a really sad story. So I've told you guys this before, and I'll tell you guys this one more time because it is relevant to what I'm about to say. So I went to go visit my father and his common-law wife, my stepmother. And so I went there, and he and I were the only two people of color there, which I should have dawned on me before I did what I did, which I didn't think. I just have no reflex control. So I went and hugged her, and I backed off, and then his hands came across me, and I elbowed him in the mouth. And it was lightning quick. And so, in a way, we owe every video that I've made, every movie that I've attempted to make, to my stepmother, who said, "Damn, James, you're pretty good. You should look into making movies." And from then on, the journey began. I was 23 years old, and I have been busting my ass ever since. So at 40-something now, 46, I really didn't dig into it until I was 27. So when I was 23, the idea was there, but I was hell sent on being a cop or a martial art instructor. The problem with martial art instructors at the time, every martial arts school I went to would not let me fight for a black belt. And every time I asked about that, they gave me the third degree about, you can't fight for your belt. And I kept telling them the same shit I'm going to tell you. How do I know I'm good if I can't fight for my belt? How do I know that everything you are teaching me is effective if you won't let me fight? However, I got enough street fights to know what works and what does not work, which is why I want to fight for my black belt versus brick a board. Because honestly, that just proves that you have a lot of strength. It does not prove that you can fight. It just proves that you have a lot of strength. It proves that if you hit somebody, you're probably going to hurt them. But what it doesn't prove is that if you're fighting someone who actually can fight you back, all the skills that you have acquired actually decent enough for you to use in combat, or they're just a flash in the pan and just look good on camera. I can answer the question of, for me, the shit I know can be used on the streets. Because I've been fighting on the streets before I ever learned martial arts. Learning martial arts only added to my arsenal. Understand, when you think about Ken and Ryu, Street Fighter, it's kind of real life. Just no leap through the air and hurricane kicks all the way across the screen and no Hadouken chi blast. Everything else, though, fighting is fighting. Alright? Fighting is fighting. Whether you're a martial artist or a boxer or a wrestler, fighting is fighting. It's just that simple. Fighting is fighting. Now let's move on to the guts and glory of what led me down the road of trying to make kung fu movies. I've always been a fan of kung fu movies. Bruce Lee will always be my hero. Jackie Chan, Sammo Hung, Jet Li, Donnie Yen, all those Asian men that I just named. Now let me name a few black guys. Wesley Snipes, Chuck Jeffries, Billy Blanks, Michael Jai White, Ty Mack from The Last Dragon, and then I left off my twin brother, Ernie Reyes Jr. I had a lot of people to look up to in shoes that I could never fill, specifically Brandon Lee, who died in 1993 when I was just really coming into my own. I was just really learning what I can do because I had beat a few black belts in some sparring matches, and we didn't spar softly. We really went at it, and when the guy realized I could do shit that black belts can't do, and I realized I could do shit that black belts couldn't do, I knew right then and there I need to fight for my belt. Because if I can beat a black belt, and I've never had a belt because I never learned katas or forms, which is how you get belts in most schools, I was taught how to fight. I wasn't taught belts and katas and shit. None of that shit meant shit to me. Because I wanted to be able to fight. I didn't give a damn if I never got a belt. I just wanted to be able to beat the guy across the battlefield who had a belt. And that is not the way to go, respectively. But sometimes you have to go your own path. And that was my path. I chose to go that way. I didn't never take martial arts to get belts. I took martial arts to get dangerous. Then I joined the army, and that made me lethal. So moving on. We're going to talk about movie fighting now. So in the movies that I've made, I've also had to wear the hat of choreographing. Sometimes I hit the mark right. Sometimes I hit the mark wrong. But it also depends on who you are choreographing. In my Dragon's Breath, I wanted to do some shit, but the guy I had to fight wasn't really a martial artist at all, so we had to make him look good, and I couldn't do what I wanted to do for my own move. And a lot of the moves that I had, some of the people in my movies would tell me, hey, look, Jay, don't show everything, because you're going to need to save some shit, And I'm thinking to myself, if I show everything, then everybody will know what I'm capable of, and they won't overextend me and ask me how to do things that I can do. So, 2 moves made famous by Asian men, and I'm going to give them their names and their proper word they're due for fighting movies. One is the 360 spinning back kick, which I could do, and that is when you catch my foot, and I, instead of the 180 made famous by Brandon Lee, I did the 360 made famous by Ernie Reyes Jr. So I just fall all the way around and come back. Now we both would land on our backs because I land on my back. I never landed on my feet, never stuck it. The 180 I can stick and land on my feet. And I have done those in my films. In Dragon's Breath, I did it. In Fallen Dragons, I did not. But in Dragon's Breath, I did the 180 and the 360, or I did the 360. I'm gonna have to find the movie and figure it out. But yeah, it can't be done. Now, in actual combat, what you call the 180 is now also known as the Enziguri, or the step up Enziguri. So, yes, I can do that. Why? Because I practiced the fuck out that shit before we started filming. So when we started filming, I had to worry about not connecting with Jay Diz's face while doing it. And then the same thing with the 360, I had to make sure not to connect. So I was like, yo, you gotta make sure that we don't connect this shit. So when we're fighting at the place that I currently work, when we were filming the dojo scene, we gotta make sure that I don't connect. So I have to make sure that I fall correctly so that I don't nail him. So in that scene also, I have a fight scene where I'm tied, my hands are tied up, and I'm also blindfolded. So yeah, we worked that scene out, and I had been training with blindfolded and hands tied since I was like 8 years old. So I've been doing it for a while. In another video, I think I said I was 12, but I've actually been doing it for so long I can't remember when I actually started. And people were like, why do you train like that? I was like, because you just never know, which is true. In most fights, you just never know if your ass is ever going to have your hands tied. You don't know if you're ever going to be blind. I used to walk around my house here and in the projects with my eyes closed just so I could feel where everything was. Also as a sign of no hope at all that one day I would be blind and I would have to wander around my mom's house. So I would have to be able to know where everything is. So I would take maybe 5 or 6 steps over my eyes. 5 or 6 steps over my eyes. I just keep doing it. I do it at work still to this day, where I try to walk as straight as a line as possible and keep my eyes closed, and I count my steps. So I'm up to like maybe 7 or 9 steps before I actually open my eyes. And when I open my eyes, I find that I've gone off course. Alright? Just so that you know, still human. But it'll be like, if you can follow me, 1, 2, 3. I'm pretty sure you guys can't see my eyes. So we're going to try this again. So straight line, 1, 2, 3. And hopefully you can still see me because the bed's right here. Alright, so anyway, that being said, I do that shit all the time. I do it going up the steps, I do it going down the steps, I do it everywhere I get a chance to, I do it. Now, I do not do it behind the wheel of a car. But the reason for that is because if I'm going to use something in a fight scene, I want to test it before I use it. That way I can make sure that no one gets hurt while doing it. Also, when I'm fighting people, I don't let the people that I'm fighting do the shit that I'm willing to do. Mostly it's a safety issue. If I get hurt, it's fine. I have 2 nurses in my family that can help me out. If you get hurt, I don't have money to pay for your hospital bill, which is why we sign waivers before we film. So in a lot of stuff, I try to make everything easy peasy. So when we do fight scenes, I don't do stuff exceptionally extravagant. Like if you see a hardcore Hong Kong special, I slow that shit down like 1,000%. Unless I know for a fact that I'm going with a martial artist who can either keep up with me or surpass me, which would make me actually want to work harder. So, especially, I'm the star of my own shit. So, if I'm the star and the story revolves around my character either needs to be the best or he needs to improve throughout the show. So with Guardians of the Galaxy's release, my stuff was called Guardians of the Earth, and the whole dynamic of anything, Guardians of anything, could cause some problems, but I do have a series out there somewhere that was stolen called Guardians of the Earth. In that, there's a lot of my fight choreographing, fighting over statues, or fighting to save the world. My special effects did not get put in, so sadly, you're going to get something, but not what I want. So, we do a fight scene where Rodney swings a sword and I dive over the sword. We do a fight scene where Rodney swings a sword and I duck the sword, and then we have a small battle, and then Courtney beats me up a little bit, and then I blast him with some lightning, and then I disappear and go into the Fear Force, etc., etc. So when you are making a movie, you need to understand this, and I'm going to say this despite what I probably should say, but I'm going to answer this as truthfully as possible. Do the fight moves in movies work in real life? Here's a hint. It depends on who you're fighting. It also depends on your training. If you think for New York Minute that you're going to pull a whole 460-degree rotation before you do a tornado kick in a real fight, I'm going to advise against it. If you're going to do a tornado kick in a real fight, I'm going to advise against it. It looks really cool on camera. it looks really effective on camera, and it is a real kick, and it is really effective. But if you're doing this, and then you're going to make that extension, I almost tripped over my shirt. This shirt. If you're doing it in a real fight, one, the guy you fighting has to be jacked up some kind of bad. I mean, he has to be like phased out and dazed out. Because I tell people, because people would always ask me when I'm sparring, why I don't do fancy shit. I said, because when you're sparring, you have to spar for real. I said, and when you're sparring someone who actually has some skills and they can fight you back, you don't want to give them an opportunity to fuck you up. So you don't want to throw a tornado kick. Now, if they throw a tornado kick and you get out the way, then okay, they're capable of throwing a tornado kick. So now you need to work harder. Now you need to be able to figure them out so that if they throw a tornado kick and you throw a tornado kick, you got to make sure first y'all don't get injured. And secondly, you got to make sure that you're both capable of doing this without hurting each other. Where in the movies, it's a simple move and good camera tricks and good angles, and you can fade away with that. Then you have to understand you're making a movie. The object of the movie is to not connect and make it look really good. Versus when you are in a real fight, your job is to connect and try to hit that guy on the other side of the battlefield. And I'm sorry for saying this to all martial artists, but I'm going to say it. You're going to hit this guy with bad intentions. Because he's trying to hit you with bad intentions. It's just that simple. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything when it comes to fighting, because here's how fighting works. I hit you, you hit me. We're going to continue this sequence until one of us goes to sleep or drops dead. It's really that simple. Or until someone breaks up the fight. There's lots of options in fighting. The best fight is to not fight at all, but sometimes you're in a clinch and you have no choice. And when you have no choice, someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. And the thing about making a movie is that when you're making a movie, it's a movie. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It's a movie. Everybody knows their part, and everybody knows the traditional, because you see this in movies all the time. So what's going to happen is I'm going to throw a jab, haymaker, haymaker. You're going to block the jab, duck the haymaker, strike. Or if you want to make it fancy, you're going to duck the jab, block, palm strike. Double palm. It just depends on who's choreographing your shit. You're going to probably work out a fight scene 4 or 5 different times and film it to see what works, so that once you get everything straight, you can go boom, 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 or boom, 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 and move into or block, duck it, front kick, or front kick, side kick. You'll figure it out when you film the first couple of fight scenes. You're going to figure out what looks cool. That's gonna go over here. What looks like choppy shit is gonna go over here. But sometimes the choppy shit works better, because it really depends on how realistic you want to make the movie or the TV series. If you want to make the movie with nothing but high-tech combat fighting, where you're both doing tornado kicks and all kinds of wushu and taekwondo, because all those things are aerial, you're gonna film that, But you're gonna have to work that out with your training partner and your co-star, because you don't want anybody to get hurt. And then you have to work out where's the camera angle's going to be. The camera angle's going to be back here for the final tornado kick. So he has to know where his head needs to go to match my foot from the tornado kick, so that when he rolls, it looks like he's been hit. Now let's say he's the one giving the tornado kick to me. I have to know that the camera's right here. He's going to do a left-legged tornado kick in a sequence. So he's going to right kick, left kick. That was wrong, because I said the camera's over here. So left kick, right kick, then tornado kick. And I'm going to roll this way, because the camera's going to be on his left shoulder. So I need to make sure that his left foot looks like it's connecting to my face. And I'm going to roll. Now let's say that that's only the beginning of the fight, and I roll into a fighting stance. And then we repeat the sequence, but this time I'm giving him the exact same shit that he does me. A lot of these things are very unnoticeable to the untrained eye. But you also have to remember that everybody's body works differently when it comes to a martial art and their body mechanics. Alright? When you are filming, you have to understand, if your partner's too fast, someone's going to get hurt. If your partner's too slow, someone's going to get hurt. So you guys have to find a medium speed that y'all both can work with, that no one gets fracked up. Now, I will say, even at medium speeds, there is a slim chance, J Diz, you connect with someone. J Diz. Anyway, I love him, but he has connected with me more times than I can count, especially in Fallen Dragons when my head was not supposed to hit the emergency rape phone at the university parking lot, and my head hit the emergency rape phone at the university parking lot, and he delivered the best line ever, which was, "Now reach out and touch somebody." For those of you young people, that was one of those slogans for, I think, AT&T or Bell or whatever the hell the phone company was, but that was one of their slogans, reach out and touch somebody. So, he ran my head into the damn thing. It hurt for a couple of days, but the show went on. Then we fought over at the Art Theater Center, and there was a broken gate. So we decided to use the broken gate. And so, that being said, I gotta make a second part of this video. Thanks for watching.